Good afternoon and welcome to the interview section of Mijas International. Today we're going to find out about the philosophy behind, for instance, Ikebana, which is flower arranging, and tea ceremonies, and also Japanese cookery and health and wellness programs. And this is with representatives from the MOA Foundation Andalusia. And the MOA Foundation believe in permanent peace and happiness for human beings throughout the world, and this is without being restricted to religion or an ethnic group. And of course they're based here on the Costa del Sol, as well as being worldwide. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, both of you. Good afternoon. Now, Sandra, you yourself are a member of this foundation, and so are you, Christine. Yeah. And perhaps we could just find out sort of like how you both became involved with it. Perhaps with yourself, Sandra, first.
Okay, yes, well, I went to visit a friend 22 years ago, and she had a load of people in her house, and it looked like a doctor's surgery, lines of people. And I said, what's happening? And she said, oh, I can't explain it to you, but sit down. And I sat down, and she transmitted this therapy to me, and I kept falling off my chair. And this wasn't something that I was used to, because I wasn't particularly looking for anything that was, organic or anything like that.
Or anything that was, unusual.
Absolutely, but I couldn't help but see that this is very strong, and I had a very powerful effect on me. So I thought, I'm going to learn this. And 22 years later, here I am.
Oh, gosh, and still very
doing
much
it.
Involved, yes.
Absolutely.
And yourself, Christine, I mean, we know you on Mijas International for the Tibetan singing bowls.
Yes.
And of course, you do have these classes as well in the MOA Foundation in Fuengirola.
It's a beautiful therapy, sound therapy, and the therapy we offer in the Japanese clinic in Fuengirola. You can combine them very well. I got involved with the clinic about 10 years ago. This is when I suffered chronic Lyme disease.
Oh, yes.
And I had been in very bad health state. And I was recommended to go to the clinic because I had received lots of chemical treatments, like a kind of a chemotherapy in hospital for 11 days. And my body could not eliminate the chemicals out of my body. So I suffered pains, I suffered concentration problems, very bad sleeping problems, etc. And I was recommended to go to the clinic. And that's when they started purifying my system, actually on all levels. And this is what started making me pain-free and a happy person again, and very energetic, actually.
Okay. And Sandra, could you explain how this all started? I believe it was with a gentleman called Mokichi Okada. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. He was born, Mokichi Okada was born at the end of the 19th century in Tokyo, and when he was around 20 or so, he wanted to be an artist. And so he was an artist and a calligrapher, a poet, and dedicated to finding out why people became ill and what you could do to make it better. So he discovered there were basically three things. One of those things was toxic things that were accumulating in your system.
Like with Christine.
Exactly.
Yes,
So getting rid of the toxins that you'd accumulated. And the second thing was, if you were going to even get rid of toxins, you're not going to ingest them. So in those days, we're talking about 1936, we're talking about doing natural agriculture without fertilizers and additives. And then the third one was to elevate yourself through arts and culture, and part of it is the Ikebana, teaching you how to contact with flowers and to communicate with them and with nature, and the tea ceremony, and just enjoy elevating yourself through arts and culture. So you had purifying therapy, natural agriculture, eating food that was native to your area and that had just been picked, a week ago and bought at the farmer's market, so seasonal food, and then elevating yourself through appreciating arts and culture, including Ikebana and the tea ceremony.
And also families are very important as well, and everybody helping each other and being a support group for each other.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. That is important, because then if you follow all of these things, and then you create a toxin-free and a happy family. And once the family are happy, then the friends, and the friends to the world.
It's catching, isn't it?
So he always used to say, well, you know, you really don't need to, or you shouldn't have to have charities to look after it. If everybody looked after themselves, you know, and you went there, you wouldn't have any need for that.
So it's like a balance, isn't it?
Yes.
Of your spiritual side and your physical side.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Now, the Ikebana is not, as you say, just about flower arranging. It's getting to be with one with nature, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And putting all your affection, as we would say, into the actual display.
Yes, it's true. Ikebana actually means flower arrangement in Japanese, but everyone has a different style and a different approach. Yeah. And Okichi Okada's approach was absolutely wonderful. I mean, I love it because it's so simple, and it takes the onus of the person to create it, because it creates itself. First of all, you take one flower or a branch that you pick, and you look at it for every side, you turn it around, and then there will be a way where it looks its best. So you don't choose how to put it in or what to put it in. It shows you where it is. And by the same token, you're looking in and connecting with the flower. And then you put it in, and then that's all you do. And then you look at it, and you say, does it need anything else? Okay? And then you will add bit by bit, you see, so if it needs it. And then all of a sudden you can have a bunch of flowers that normally we put in one vase in an Occidental way. You use it for the whole house, because you just need one or two flowers here with a branch. And it's really beautiful. Once you've seen that, and then you communicate with it, with the flower, because you just take it and put it in a glass. There's no communication with it at all. So you try doing it. It's lovely.
Yeah, it puts a whole new perspective onto it, doesn't it? Yes, yeah. And I mean, you do have classes for Ikebana
absolutely.
as well,
Classes in Ikebana. Of course, we have
we're going to talk about that.
Of the tea ceremony, and also, but you can learn that, and you can learn the therapy, how to use the therapy, and you know, once you've done it, it's absolutely fantastic. That's why 22 years later, I'm still
you're very much involved and very much enjoying it as well. I can see. Now, the tea ceremonies are beautiful to watch, aren't they? And you're going to explain a little bit about this to us.
Yes. Well, tea ceremony is for me something very special, very beautiful. You know, I love everything which has to do with the quietness, with the connecting with your inner self, and with, well, bringing offer and service to other people. So as far as I'm concerned, and as I know, the tea ceremony in old times in Japan was a ceremony, and it was an honor for the guests being invited. They had built special houses, the tea house, and there was a discipline and a process how you would enter and how you would be served the tea. And what I've brought here today is a selection of the utensils you would use. And I have learned a few years ago the small tea ceremony, which is called bontemai. There's many different schools in Japan how you can learn different tea ceremonies or kind of tea ceremonies. I've learned the small version, which is already quite a learning process, because every step has a meaning and is kind of a meditative movement, step. You connect, and the beautiful thing is you offer, at the end of the day, a beautiful cup of tea filled with love and caring to the person. So if you mind, I explain you a little bit the utensils we have brought here. This is kind of a tablet, and they call it obon. It's probably a different pronunciation in Spanish, in Japanese. So it's like a round tablet where the tea ceremony is presented on. You might have a bigger one to bring all your utensils, like the hot water, etc., which I didn't bring today. This is a so-called natsume, and usually it's very nicely decorated with special paintings. Often it's gold color, and you can even purchase them for very expensive, because it's an art, the painting on it. And in there you would find the delicious green, high quality tea, which is the powder tea, which you would not find in every normal tea shop, obviously.
No, I've never seen it in the powder form.
Yeah, it is very delicious, I can say, and you don't need a lot of it. This is the shakim. So with this little wooden bamboo spoon, you take the tea out and you would place it into the tea bowl, which we call the shawan. And you have very beautiful different tea bowls. Often they're made of ceramics, pottery, and they have beautiful designs, but often they're very simple, and the art is the simplicity again. This is the whisk. It's a bamboo whisk, and it is very fine worked, and we call it chasen. And we have the tea bowl, obviously, and this is how it would be served. You use the whisk, you prepare the tea, the powder tea, with hot water, so it gets kind of a foam on the tea, and it's very delicious. Usually it's served with a little piece of sweet, Japanese sweet, which you would eat before you drink the tea, because the tea is not with sugar, obviously. It's natural.
Yeah. So it's to just take off the the fact that it's not.
It's a strong taste. It's a strong taste, but very healthy actually, because it's very high in antioxidants.
Okay. Oh, thank you. In fact, the way you actually described that made me feel really relaxed.
Oh, right.
Didn't it? And of course, another part that's important is Japanese food, Japanese cooking, and the way it's cooked. It's, I believe, it's to appeal to the five senses. That's very important as well, isn't it?
It's true.
And they do these type of classes at the clinic.
Quite regularly, and very well attended.
Yeah.
And excellent. I mean, it's. I find it's my favourite food, Japanese food, and when I go visiting them in Japan, I'm just, don't serve me anything but that always. Oh, there's such a variety of things in the way it's presented, and the food. It's apart from one thing, which is tempura, which is very hot, you know, and fried in oil. But everything is sort of done very steamed and things like that, so it's very healthy.
Very healthy.
For you, you know. You find that you get a largish Japanese when they start eating hamburgers and things like that. Not when they eat their own food. But it's I love it, and it's regularly done at the clinic.
Yes, I think the next one is the 21st of June, the next Japanese cookery course. But yeah, here we have it on the screen, and people can also go to the website as well to find out details.
And I recommend it highly. It's fabulous, delicious. We have delicious cooks doing the courses.
And it's like a workshop, isn't it?
Yes, exactly.
So people can get involved.
Absolutely, they do.
Wonderful.
Oh, yes, they actually get involved. Everybody makes whatever it is that they're making for that particular day.
Okay.
I personally love it a lot, because we get together, we gather, and then you get explained every ingredient which will be cooked. You cook together, and then you eat together.
Yeah.
You eat what you have created.
Sounds wonderful. Sounds wonderful. Now, you were talking earlier about I think it's the Okada purifying treatment. I don't know which one of you would like to explain how that works.
Well...
Or maybe half and half.
We can actually show you. Just turn around a little bit. For example, okay, first of all, turn to me. Sorry, I gave you the wrong instructions. When you see somebody, your patient sits down, you ask the patient what it is that how they feel, you know, and they tell you. And if it's more than one or two things, then you ask them to tell them in sense of importance, what it is that we want to treat today. Now, we find out ourselves because we touch. I'm not going to stand up because I don't have the camera to follow
forward.
Me. You just see. But anyway, we touch from the top of the heads, the sides, the shoulder, the neck, the shoulders, areas in the human body, okay, we don't have any other form of identifying things, just
from the touch.
From the touching. And we feel heat. And then in the center of the heat, we have a slight pressure, and there's always, if you're doing it correctly and being able to find the points correctly, you will have pain. So where the pain is, so like that. You see, little curve. Transmitting energy, infinitesimal subatomic particles. Okay, and then that liquefies. Like a common cold, you know, you get a cold, you have a fever, it liquefies the toxins and it disappears, and that's what it is. So we go across the body to the kidneys. We work on the physical body, you know, not as some therapies. I'm not denigrating any therapy because I don't know anything about anything, about other therapies except for this. But we don't work on the meridians, we actually work on the human body because it's sort of like a microcosm of nature. And since this therapy is from nature, which is, as you know, fire, water and earth, and the microcosm on your body is the heart is fire, the lungs are water, and the earth is, so you have this microcosm, so you're working with the powers of nature.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Yeah. Something I'd never heard or thought about. So yeah, it does make sense.
It does. So the whole thing is logical. That's why the philosophy of Mikichi Okada is more or less getting you to have a really healthy, happy life that you have here on earth. You know, you don't have to be ill. There are ways of getting better. And when we work with medication, we never tell people not to take medications or not to go to their doctors. But what happens is they get better. So when they next go to the doctors, he says, "Oh, you don't need that many pills or something," you know. But it's and we work in tandem because now, within the last 10 years, we've had many, many more people that are understanding this. Because before it might seem a little bit strange, but now that a lot of doctors are doing what we call integrative medicine, and that's doctors that also use alternative therapies. As a matter of fact, in Japan, we have in the middle of Tokyo, we have a 100-bed hospital, which is medical doctors, nurses, treating people with this treatment and teaching them how to eat properly, nutrition, and giving them the tea ceremony and the ikebana. So it is very complementary.
Together. Thank you very much, both of you. Thank you for explaining all that. Now, I do believe on the first Wednesdays at 5 in the afternoon there is the tea ceremonies, and the second and fourth Wednesdays it's the ikebana at 5 o'clock.